These AFL players' careers were never the same after one incident, whether it was their own fault or not. Today, we're going to discuss them all, starting with Brendan Favola. Now, it's pretty much impossible to go from winning a Coleman medal with 86 goals to being kicked out of that same club. That is, unless you're Favola. Fev's always been causing controversy off the field, from alcohol-induced fights to huge gambling sprees, but there was one incident that proved to be the final straw. Favola's infamous night at the 2009 Brownlow medal count. During the event, Favola, working for Channel 9's AFL footy show, conducted interviews while heavily intoxicated. He pretended to attack Carlton superstar Chris Judd and Swans midfielder Ryan O'Keefe and snapped at James Hird. Speaking on his Fox FM radio show, Favola revealed that he found himself confined to his house for a week due to media attention from the backlash. There were even camera crews parked outside his house. Despite the chaos, Favola maintained his sense of humour, joking about the situation. However, he acknowledged the impact of his actions and admitted fault for the controversy. Because of what Fev did, the AFL significantly reduced the amount of alcohol served at Brownlows. Still, he doesn't regret his actions. The events of that fateful night led to Favola's departure from Carlton and a temporary ban from the grand final footy show. Harley Bennell showed heaps of promise going into his AFL career, but it all amounted to nothing, thanks to a few damaging incidents. Bennell was part of the original Gold Coast squad, playing in their first ever match in round 2 of 2011. His career started a little shaky, with multiple disciplinary problems causing him to be dropped from the side numerous times. But 2012 was a whole different year. Bennell starred for the Suns, playing in all 22 games of the year, kicking 25 goals and finishing second in the club's best and fairest, only beaten out by Gary Ablett Jr. 2013 and 14 were also great years for Bennell. But then came 2015. It began in May, with the young midfielder drinking alcohol after a game, even though the entire team had agreed to avoid consuming it for that week. 2 months later, the Herald Sun published a photo allegedly showing Bennell using illegal substances. Turns out, the photo was reportedly from 2013. The Suns responded by dropping him for the next few games, but this wasn't enough of a warning for Bennell. Because just 2 months later, in September, he got into a drunken altercation at Surfers Paradise. That was it. Gold Coast announced that they'd be trading him to Fremantle. Bennell had to wait until round 22 to debut for Fremantle, but after 2 games averaging 9 disposals and a calf injury, the Dockers delisted him. Luckily for the ex-Sun, Melbourne threw him one final lifeline, and he took it. And he impressed, picking up 14 disposals in his debut game at 86% efficiency. But then, out of nowhere, the Demons dropped him. Because of his supposed lack of discipline, Bennell was never able to flourish at one club, retiring with only 88 games to his name. In early 2024, Melbourne forward Joel Smith found himself embroiled in serious controversy, facing accusations of trafficking illegal substances as part of an investigation into his failed drugs tests from the previous year. Additionally, Smith was also accused of possessing illegal substances on September 9th, 2022, the day of Melbourne's semi-final loss against Brisbane. If found guilty under the AFL's anti-doping code, Smith faces a minimum 4-year ban, which will deal a significant blow to his career. It's not certain if Smith will face the same consequences as the Essendon players during the supplement scandal, a 2-year ban, or if his punishment will be harsher. His career is already hanging by a thread, as his suspension prevented him from participating in the Demons' pre-season training. I guess we'll have to wait and see whether he's destroyed his career or not. Former AFL player Chris Yarran was a star at Carlton. In 2012, he earned himself Goal of the Year by embarking on an incredible run before finishing it off with a drop punt from a tight angle. In 2013, he averaged 11 disposals and a goal a game, which doesn't sound like much, but his impact when he had the ball was pretty high, changing the momentum of any game in just a split second. But just like Joel Smith, Yarran's life changed forever the day he started using illegal substances. In a video interview, Yarran recounted the moment he was introduced to them by a family member during the 8th year of his football career and his first at Richmond. Yarran had requested a trade to the Tigers at the end of 2015, believing that the Tigers were not too far off a premiership. And while he couldn't have been further from the truth, it was a shame that he was never able to win a premiership medal himself. Despite telling himself he'd never used these substances, Yarran gave in. The effects they caused him were devastating. He went from a physically fit and healthy athlete to a self-described slob. Yarran gained a ton of weight and started to miss training because he didn't want teammates to see him in the terrible state he was in. His relationship, career, finances, and health were all destroyed. Yarran never debuted for the Yellow and Black that year and subsequently left the club and the AFL to deal with personal issues. He never played AFL footy ever again. In 2024, Taron Thomas was hit with allegations that not only ruined his reputation, but might have ruined his playing career. The young Kangaroos midfielder has struggled with inconsistency regarding his form, but 2023 was one of his better years, averaging 10 disposals and a goal a game. Unfortunately for him, North Melbourne made the tough decision to sack Thomas following his guilty verdict for multiple breaches by the AFL. The then 23-year-old was suspended for 18 matches and couldn't return to the AFL until completing a behavioural change program. One of these acts of misconduct included threatening a woman via direct messages on multiple occasions. Thomas's involvement in similar behaviours in 2023 was the primary reason he was handed such a lengthy ban. Despite the club investing a lot of support and resources into Thomas to help him reach his full potential, it became apparent that his values did not align with those of the club. At the end of the 2024 season, Thomas will become a free agent, meaning any club will be able to sign him and it won't cost them draft picks. But if he doesn't get picked up, there's a high chance he's ruined his AFL career for good. Did you enjoy this video? If you did, consider subscribing to the channel.